And welcome to Who Dares Rolls. I'm Mumbo Jumbo for this August, the something. It's 20-something of August. I've been off this week with Isaac because it's half term, so I've been looking after him, which is why the video's been delayed, because I've been looking after him. He may turn up in this video at some point, who knows. But I'm going to run through, well, I've got 5 spare moments to record some stuff, so I'm going to do that now. So this might be bolted together from various bits, but we'll see how we do. Hello, intermission. So yes, this video hasn't come out on time. I am behind schedule, mainly because of half term. I was off with Isaac for a week there, and I did film some stuff, which you'll be seeing amongst all of this. The actual video I did film during that period of time, but I have been manically busy. So I've been between that. I was doing half term and work and bouncing between, and basically I just haven't had time to edit the video and stuff. So our regular viewing schedule fell off a cliff. That didn't take long, did it, everybody? Anyway, this is some way of compensating for that. So this is going to be a Frankenstein video of the original video, and then some extra bits, because there's important stuff going on. There's bait clicking type shenanigans afoot. We need to cover it. But after this preamble from previous past Mike, don't even remember what he had to say for himself. What did you have to say for yourself, Mike? So yes, all of that out of the way. It's half term. It's shit. The weather's raining. It's like the middle of the winter. It's poo. I'm off. This is why this has happened. Bollocks to it. Perfect board game playing weather, though. Just saying. Without any further ado, talking of playing games, let's have a look at what I've been playing. Right, played games. If you hear blipping, it's because my computer's on in the background, and the board game group are now desperately messaging on this Discord, and it's making it blip, and I'm fucking annoyed. I'm going to have to go over there and deal with that if it goes on. Stop it. Played Arcana. Played some of that and played it for a little while. Got to the table on, I think it was the Friday night. It was just me, Jamie and Robbie, because Tony's been away holidaying and doing other stuff. How dare he? So yes, rude. But we played Arcana. I still enjoy Arcana. I think it's I just like the mechanisms of what it does. Really nice. I like that card play it does. I like the think that I need to put into it. I like all the stuff it does. Thematically wise, I mean, it just about hangs together, the theme, but let's be honest, really, it's more, I enjoy the mental gymnastics of what is going on in that game, and it more than delivers on that, and I enjoy it very much. Thank you very much. I'll leave it there. We've covered it over many times, so I'm not going to go over that again. Arcana came to the table again. A stunningly good game. I love Arcana, and we played that some more. I can always got time for Arcana. Everyone should have a copy of Arcana, I believe, in their collection, because it plays in about, once you know what you're doing, plays in about an hour or so. And it's a really satisfying little engine buildery game. Really good. Really good. Tom Lehman, the designer of Race for the Galaxy. Sandcastle Games published it. Very good. We've got some more to cover on that in the news section later on. But we should continue on with what we played. My Father's Work. We got to play that the other night. On the Sunday, it was me, Robbie, Jamie again. I haven't played that for a while. Big, epic game of gothic horror, mad scientists, worker placement game with these 3 missions, 3 kind of scenarios you pick in the base box, and they've never done any more. Whether they will, I don't know. There's an app works alongside it, and what you've got in each of these scenarios you play is your decisions based on what you do during the game will alter and affect the village and town, how the story progresses, and what happens to you. And it is a fascinating fun to play that one. And played it for a little while. We played the time, I can't remember what it was. It wasn't Time of War, it was the other one. Suspicious or something. Anyway, the villagers weren't very happy. I hadn't played it for a while, so actually what I kept forgetting to do was forward the app on to the next stage. So there was a point about 2/3 of the way into the game when I forgot to push the button a couple of times, and we had to kind of do a bit of scurrying to fix that, which kind of broke off of things. Generally, it ended in the shit show. We sacrificed Robbie. He wasn't very happy about that. He got burnt at the stake. The villagers rebelled and all sorts of shit went down. But it was fun. I do like My Father's Work. It's not an easy... Well, it was a Kickstarter exclusive at the time. I think you can now pick it up direct from... I'm going to say Renegade Games, because I think it's Renegade. It is Renegade Games. If you're a fan of that gothic horror, that sort of stuff, it's really well done. It's very talky. It's very wordy. There's a lot of reading to do, but actually the stories are usually amusing with a tongue in cheek. And I enjoy the gameplay of it. And I managed to complete my master's work, which was very nice. But yes, worker placement, engine building type thing with this gothic sort of storyline laid over the top of it. If any of that's of interest, we've covered it before. It is a stunningly good bit of fun. Even though I messed it up, it was still good fun. And then, June. Yes, I've been playing an awful lot more of June digital. Uprising now, Rise of X is on there. I've been fascinated just playing that, just kind of dabbling in and out of it, just to try different strategies out. Stuff that it's a game that comes to the table fitfully, not all the time. I enjoy June, but it is something to really get the strategies of a game. You've got to play it again and again and again. And having now I've been able to play about half a dozen or so games of June Imperium, the digital version. Just being able to mess around with the mechanisms and see how things work and try out and pull at the strings of it all. It's really fun, really good, just to be able to just get some legs in that game and just play it some more. And I'm not getting to play it on there. If you're a fan of June Imperium, I can highly recommend the digital implementation. It is fantastic. It's really good fun. And the games whip along fairly good. Usually about an hour and a half maybe you can get through a game of it digitally. But I'm really enjoying playing it. So there you go. And maybe soon get some other people on board to play that because it's nice. I'd like to play more June Imperium and I don't get enough time. So there we go. I'm playing that. That is it. We didn't play Friday night. We played Cars because Ben was tie-tie. I don't know what we're going to play this weekend. We'll find out. I've got the boys over Saturday instead of Sunday. We've got to play something epic-ish because it's bank holiday weekend. Don't know yet. Probably Twilight Imperium. Just saying. And that's all of that. So we've heard from past Mike. Just future Mike, in relation to Fast Mike, we played some Twilight Imperium. Big old game of that over the wank holiday. Whoops. Oh dear. Oh yes, the good old British wank holiday. So yeah, on the wank holiday, we played some Twilight Imperium. 4-player, the usual Sunday crowd. Had a big old bash bosh of that. Some images of that to appease you. I think I took photos. We played that, and I remember I was playing the Mentax and Tony was playing something else. I should know this shit. It would make it much more enthralling for me to tell you. Essentially, we played it for a good few hours, and Tony won. And much carnage ensued. Jamie was the what was it? The Borg, basically. Name's escaping me, but they're essentially the Borg. They go around and they gain tech from everyone, and essentially Robbie was not producing any further tech. He basically left himself in the Dark Ages, so Jamie couldn't couldn't suck any more tech off of him. But it was good. It was good fun. I mean, I've always got time for Twilight Imperium. I am looking forward to when Arcs, I ordered Arcs, but for the actual main batch, which is coming, I think September, October time. So I'll be interested in give Arcs back to the table, because the vicious rumour is that Arcs could potentially do the 4X TI thing in a shorter timescale. I've played it very briefly at the Expo. The Expo video we haven't put out, but I did show some footage from that, but we did play that. And I was intrigued, and then shut up and sit down, went excited, and I was like, oh yes, interested. So anyway, that as well, been playing that. Let's, if we haven't already, do some news.
Here is the news.
News. So, straight out the gate, actually, I'm going to go and cover Res Arcana. There's the Res Arcana Duo, which is an expansion, standalone expansion, 2-player game for Res Arcana, but it can be merged or mixed into the Res Arcana game. Now, I know there's another expansion on the way, which is not this, but this is like a starter set. It looks very cool. It has got new mages, it's got new cards, it's got new bits in it. So, in all likelihood, I'm going to pick it up just to be able to get more stuff that I can use with Res Arcana. But it also is a really nice entry point for people maybe don't have Res Arcana, want to do it. I mean, to be fair, I see it regularly under 30 quid for about 22, 23 quid Res Arcana. If you can see it, then pick it up. It's an absolute steal. I don't know what this is going to retail at. I would imagine a similar price point. But yeah, this looks very cool. Res Arcana, lovely jubbly, like a bit of that. Duo version of it, 2-player game. If you're into two-player games, I highly recommend Arcana. Pick it up, play that, enjoy that. It's coming out in November. And I say I'll keep an eye out. There is an expansion, as I've said, also due for Arcana. We haven't known much more about this, but they have just announced this, which is excellent. Lovely. Love a bit of Arcana. Very cool. And another box, which might be a way to store the rest of the stuff, because the other one is quite full up. Then Emberleaf has been getting a lot of... Frank has been posting a lot of stuff about Emberleaf. One of the things he covered was the card dancing mechanisms. And something else that came to light, there was an email the other day from the designer of Defection, which was a space kind of trading game. I remember playing it at Aircon, probably getting on for 5 to 6 years ago, maybe even longer. And the idea was this the sort of epic space game of you doing trading and sort of pick up and delivery stuff and some other bits and pieces going on, and had like a card mechanism that you used in front of you. I played about 2 or 3 different interpretations of that. It went to Kickstarter, I think last year, the year before last, didn't hit its target, got pulled. So what they've basically done is taken that, and it's Emberleaf, apparently. I didn't originally know that. Ian Sutton, thank you Ian, pointed it out, and the day he pointed it out, I got an email from, I want to say it was Jamie, the designer. I'm going to say that, about this. Now, I liked Defection. I played, as I say, the very early interpretation of it at Aircon and broke it, but it was in its early days. And me, Tony, and Jamie played it at a expo a few years ago, where Tony broke the table we were playing on, not the actual game. But yeah, I really digged what it was doing. And so anyway, it's getting this re-implemented into Emberleaf, which I'm on the fence on for 2 things. Number one, it's kind of all cutesy animals. Like a bit like Root, but actually without the charm of Root, if I'm honest with you. It's a bit more Beatrix Potter, Sylvania Families vibe. I don't get the cutesy animals thing. Root I kind of liked for the aesthetics of it, because it looked kind of cool, and I can't remember the name of the artist did that, but at least that aesthetically looked a bit cooler. Whereas this doesn't, if I'm honest with you. It just looks kind of like, I don't know, animals. I don't get the animal thing. Space, other things like that. Anything else? I don't know. Though mechanisms-wise, some of it looks fascinating. The card dancing, which was what I expected, which essentially there's a very long video Frank has posted, which if you want to go and watch it, it's about 20 minutes long, half an hour long, where he goes very carefully and slowly through how the card dancing process works, which essentially is a tableau of cards you have in front of yourself, and you can add cards to them, and they kind of shuffle other cards along. They activate when they go down, if other cards are available on the tableau that tie up with that. Also, when they expire, some of them have an ability they do when they expire, and they cause something else to happen. So you've got this kind of this tango with cards going on, card dancing, which is all cool. I've got to be honest with you, looking at it, I'm kind of left going, it looks cool. I like kind of what it's doing. I don't like the animals. I do worry that something like this with Robbie or Tony would end up in them having some AP-induced seizure, which would result in me wanting to poke them in the eye or something as well, because I'd be sat next to them while they do that. But there you go. I don't know. I was fascinated with Emberleaf. I'm kind of called on it because I just don't care for the fucking stupid cuddly animal theme. Give me something else. Spaceships! Something else. I don't know. Just not my thing. But I like the mechanisms of it, so we'll see how it rolls out. I might have to just grit my teeth and endure. Maybe I'll have to do that. But yeah, I'd like some of the other stuff. Emberleaf, it's out there at the moment. It's coming, I think, September to Kickstarter. So, clicky baity shit going on. Well, clicky baity shit. We need to speak about Simon Lavender. I say this. You're going, who the fuck is that? Some of you will know that. If you're frequenting board game trading and chat, I am sure you are vaguely aware of his existence. Me personally have had no interactions with Simon Lavender. I don't think so in any direct context. I am aware of him. I've always been aware of him on the UK Trading and Chat when he was a member of that. I kind of saw him as a cross between Mr. Bean and maybe a serial killer. It's just something about I never did that with him, but I just kind of went, oh, you're a bit weird. That was my take from seeing the interactions he had and stuff he said, and there were some weird interactions. So I was just generally like, yeah, I don't need you in my plane of existence. But then he got bumped off of there. And that was the story of that, we thought. I knew he was running a YouTube channel, Amass Games, which is an unfortunate turn of phrase when we'll get to that later on. But all I was perturbed by was really just the sheer amount of subscribers he had on that channel, considering he has the personality of a crisp and just comes off a bit weird. And I don't mean that, it just comes off a bit weird. So anyway, you know, whatever. Horses for courses, that does your thing, whatever does it for you. So why are we talking about him? Why are we doing this? Well, it's something's cropped up over the last 3 or 4 days, maybe longer, maybe not. There was a post on UK Games Expo, UK Game fuck UK board creating and chat about Simon, and more specifically it was posted by Geraldo Pure from Beyond World Games in relation to his game The Strange Forgeries, which it is here. I'd seen this in the Expo Mag when I was at the Expo this year, and I liked the art style, just kind of really boomed out at me from the Expo magazine, kind of this Gerald Scarf type sort of weird, I was going to say Hunter S. Thompson, but it isn't. It's the artist, Ralph Steadman. That just kind of that vibe, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of peculiar. I'm quite intrigued by that. I was going to go to the stand and have a look at it, but if I'm honest with you, I was rough, and I kind of didn't. I think I may have walked past the stand, but that's it. But I wasn't up to an interaction at the end, which is a shame. But there we go, because I would have had more of a context to this. Anyway, Geraldo has posted, it found its way to UK Game Boarding and Chat, fuck me, but it's also on Board Game Geek in rather a significantly long thread of over 17 pages, of which I will link in the comments of this extended video. So what's going on? So, essentially, in a nutshell, Simon also must have taken a look at this, although vaguely, we don't know. And he'd got a pre-production copy of this from Geraldo at the Expo, is my understanding of this, when one of his associates arrived with a literal wheelbarrow full of games and took his pre-production copy away with the promise of creating a review video. We skip forward, I presume, weeks, months later, or to now. And what's essentially happened is someone's kind of taken a leaf out of Mythic's thing, actually, of a bit of sort of hostage negotiation. Essentially, after a period of time, he turns around and says, if you pay for your review video, which I can't remember what the price he wanted, but if you pay for your review video, then it will be done and fast-tracked through and all that. If not, then you're going to have to wait around 5 years for him to produce the content. One would argue that might not be very much useful. 2,131 days is his queue, his backlog of games that he hasn't got through. Which, I'll pause here, though there is some very lovely graphs, though, the cum graphs, which I'm not entirely... Wank Holiday Monday comes back to mind. Anyway, there's that. Now, I'll pause for a second here, because I can. There is a plight to being a YouTube video thingy reviewer stuff, content creator. That's the word of it. And I'm not looking to get the violins out by any means in regards to what I'm about to say. I'd probably go close to about 5 years ago or so. I really went to the Expo and I went out to get some review copies because I thought, fuck it, the channel was on a bit of a rise. I think we'd done the DICE stuff before, so, I was feeling emboldened with our state. And I went around that year of Expo and I nabbed quite a few review copies by speaking to stands. You left it to the Sunday. And had to chat with you and did reap quite a few games. I can't remember the exact number, but it was in the region of probably about 10 or 15 games. Now, even I at the time was cautious not to take too much, but I took these games and I regretted that instantly when I got back because I had to create content for all that stuff. And that takes time, especially when you don't have the time to do it. So I did, over a period of literally months, work through all those games to get reviews done of them or get them mentioned or get some other stuff done out of the fact that I'd blagged those games and I needed to produce content with the intents of. So I felt suddenly a lot of pressure on myself to get that done. And I, to be fair, avowed ever since that never to do that again because it was just a lot of pressure and a lot of work. so I barely nab any review copies anymore at all. Board of Dice used to send me stuff occasionally. I haven't seen anything from them recently. If anything absolutely takes my fancy, I used to get bits and pieces from Portal, but they've really scaled back what they're putting out. And I've greatly enjoyed the stuff I've got. But yeah, that pressure on you to produce with a mass backlog of review stuff, I get it. And I pressure myself because I don't want to be grabbing stuff and not being able to produce some sort of content. Already I'm sat here going, I have horticulture for Tinkerbot Games. They sent me a while ago. I have not done any content for that yet. And, I owe them that. So I will do that. But anyway, so there's that. So we go back to Simon, who appears to be he's got something in the region of like 500 to 600 games in this backlog of this stuff that he hasn't produced content for, which you kind of got to go, and he's still doing it. He's still grabbing stuff. That's the key thing that we're aware of here, is he's mentioning he's grabbing stuff. His spiel's coming up. He's still just grabbing stuff, and he's put haul videos out of all this stuff. He's blagged over these various things, which is fine if you take that. That's up to you what you do. But since then, of course, it's gone out of control. The publishers offered to pay the postage for the game to be returned. It's basically said, I'm not going to pay you your silly money, and if it's going to be 5 years, I don't want to wait 5 years for you to do a review for my game. That would be kind of useless, Simon. Please send it back. Here's the postage to do so. At which point, everything goes fucking insane. Because Simon says, no, Simon says, I'm not going to send your game back. In actual fact, now I own your game. You're going to have to look at the thread to get the full minutiae of it. But this is, I'm abbreviating, bringing it down, abstracting it down just to make it as easy for you. But it basically says, I'm keeping your game, I own it now, because I've reasons. And in fact, I might need it to sell to pay for my my rent, which is a weird statement to make. So then from there, it escalates. Eventually, he sends emails from another source of someone called Daniela in these vague legal mumbo-jumbo threatening letters, in some regards, threatening harassment or something. And it just grows on until eventually we see this post, which appears on Board Game Geek, initially without his name attached, but now very clearly has Simon's name slapped to it. It also has a lot of publishers now linked into it. I think the guy... Geraldo has linked basically going through Simon's account. This guy is really he's not happy, and he's going to town. He's really going to town. He's definitely not the guy you wanted to piss off, because he's gone through and he's literally listed all of Simon's games. He's listed on Board Game Geek and listed all the publishers and linked them all in. And there is some other prominent publishers. I've seen Dave Turksey on there. I think Rado mentioned something. 3 Minute Board Games has been on there. Mentioned stuff. And mentioned contacting other publishers to let them know of his shenanigans. Grogan has turned up on there. Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules, of which I've had dealings with Paul Grogan. And I, without getting too personal or anything else with regards to this, I'm not his biggest fan, I'll be honest with you. He seems to have sort of a cult-like following of people behind him. I have had interactions with Paul, and my feeling regarding Paul is, frankly, he is all about Paul. And in these threads, there was very much this stuff going on where he's turned up, he's spouting all sorts of things. Essentially, he goes on a self-promotion tour for about 5 or 6 pages before he kind of gets shouted down by people saying, hold on a minute, you seem to be just promoting yourself and how wonderful you are, which is Paul all over, if I'm honest with you. And then he just seems to be a special subject on Simon Lavender, even though he hasn't. Now look, I'm not going to get into a pissing fight on that, but yeah, I've had interactions with Paul. He is not totally without blame on some stuff, but I'm not going to get into that here. But I will say he's no longer a member of Board Game Trading and Chat for reasons. He's doing his thing, everyone else is doing theirs. If you follow him, wonderful. I have nothing else to say. I personally, again, always struggle with the fact with Paul is that he is a bit dull. It's the main thing. But then he does produce lots of good content for people to do, and I'm not knocking him for that. But yes, I have had interactions in the past with him, and frankly, I feel that Paul is all about Paul and self-promotion of Paul, and nobody else. I pause for coffee. There you go. That I thrown out there. But yeah, there you go. We're all doing our own thing. Anyway, it is an interesting ambulance chasey-like thing to view. As I've said, I've had no interactions with Simon. I know of people that have. Back in the COVID days, I did a series of videos, Board Game Trading and Chat, with like a weekly release video. Behind the scenes, there'd been discussions of people pitching to do this, and I'd seen them offered, and like a fool, I'd said I would, and I did for a period of time. I think, and I believe, that it was not directly mentioned, but that Simon was also pitched for the video, and the team there, the admin team behind there, were quite clear they probably didn't want him doing it. Obviously now, we see all this more stuff, we go, oh yes, oh dear, yes, I can understand more now. I mean, there's lots of mudslinging and dirt out there regarding him. Amass Games, we would say, is an unfortunate name to have for his channel, considering he is amassing all the games. But there you go. That is the latest drama. It is running. Reddit have got it, which is never good. You don't want Reddit tearing the strip into you. Board Game Geek, it's hidden, but it is on Board Game Geek, and it's been various other places and sites. It is out there. Simon has been frantically deleting messages on his YouTube channel, so that if you go to there is nothing there, because he's frantically day by day deleting messages that have gone on there. One of his latest videos has got loads of views, which mainly I think because people are going there to drop a nugget of truth. Now look, I'm not in favour of witch hunts and all that sort of stuff. However, you know, his behaviour it's quackalope levels of weirdness and self-promotion and just stupidity. I mean, I would say he's got problems. I mean, there's clearly, we all know the issue with collecting is you just want to collect more. I'm aware of that, and I think he's dug himself a massive, huge hole of just desperately using his status somehow. I don't know how, probably by being pushy by the sounds of it, and just being a little bit, not threatening, but just harassing to the point of just take a fucking game and leave us alone. But he's dug himself this hole where I was kind of on the precipice of just having too much stuff. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird carry-on. This specifically is an absolutely deranged carry-on, because really, if he just sent the game back, either under his own dime or the designer's dime, none of this would have happened. And let's be honest now, the damage he's wrought is fairly horrific, and probably will mean that's it for him, because I can't see how he can carry on doing what he's doing, where there's this swathe of publishers out there now being made aware of his shenanigans, more and more people coming forward regarding his shenanigans, and obviously his YouTube channels are going to get targeted by numpties, people who don't really have any skin in the game at all. But you know what, when there's blood in the water, there we go. So there we go. There's all of that stuff. Have you been touched by Simon Lavender? Have you heard Simon Lavender's story to tell? I don't know. There you go. That's my take. As always, I will try and be as genuine and honest in regards to what I'm saying, and that's my take on it. I think he's a troubled soul. He's a funny chap, and he seems to have got himself in a bit of a pickle. Maybe one would hope that he would learn from this. I'm not convinced he has, because he has posted response on Board Game Geek, which clearly shows he hasn't really learned anything. And the fact that he's deleting messages and basically claiming harassment, again, doesn't really fill me with thrill that this is the case. I will see how this develops, as he's gone rather quiet at the moment. So one of two things is going to happen. Either he is just going to slip away and send the game back, which I believe he's doing, and just duck and cover, or do something deranged like sue people or something. So I don't know. But there we go. There is the drama of the moment. There we go. There was all of that. Lovely. I'm going to go back to past Mike now, because this is, I think, it for future Mike. The only other bit, actually, of nugget of news was Mass Effect board game. There was a video out for it, for Eric Lang's Mass Effect board game. It looks a little bit like actually what he could have done for XCOM. if you look at it, it's like a sort of tactical turn-based fighting game. Really, it looks like, on a board with the book. It's got, again, the book with maps and stuff. Cool idea. Everyone seems to like the book of maps stuff going on. There's a video which I'm playing at this point in time, I think, over this, my chattling along. But yeah, there you go. Lang did XCOM the board game, which was an abbreviated version of XCOM. Everyone kind of wasn't happy. Well, it didn't do as well as it could, because I think a lot of people expected to have that turn-based combat thing, where in fact it was so abstracted from the basic material to give you more overview, which I didn't mind. But this looks like that game, but using the Mass Effect license. I believe there's going to be a series of these, I'm not certain. But there you go, it's Lang. Lang is always good. I do like his economy of design. Here is this, it looks kind of pretty. Just the price, I think, on this stuff sounds a bit extortionate, but Modifius, who are doing it, tend to do that. Its stuff tends to be a little bit on the pricey side. But there we go, that is coming out, I think, the end of the year time, I believe. But there's a video for it anyway. Stuff. Back to past Mike. Ta-ta. Then looking back, oh yeah, Arc Nova Map Pack 2 as well announced for this Essen. Mind you, Map Pack 1 actually I got excited about. I had like 2 actual maps in it, so we'll see how many that's got in this one, as it was a bit highly priced. I bought it blind thinking it was going to be much more exciting than it was, which ended up being about 2 player boards, and that was it. Hopefully there's more in this. Anyway, yes, looking back, looky back. Backpack, looky back. Legendary encounters. I've mentioned this last week. Alien Romulus is out at the cinemas. I haven't yet got around to seeing it. I've seen mixed opinions on it. I'll probably go and see it at the cinema because it's Alien. Legendary Encounters is a classic big upper deck game. It's sadly no longer in print. They lost the license to it, so it is a proposition to get. Is a bit tricky, to say the least, especially the 2 Alien expansions, one of which I do own, the second one I don't own, the Covenant one, because it came out kind of late in the cycle of it, and I'd seen it out and went, oh, I probably should pick that up at some point, and then didn't panic about it because I wasn't playing it very much, and then it was gone, never to be seen again. Yeah. And a Predator expansion, which I do have, which allowed you to combine the 2, so you could have aliens versus Predator, you could have people versus Predators, all sorts of good shit going on. Of all the Legendary stuff, I really enjoyed what this did, Encounters did. Marvel Legendary, Ben had, I don't know if he still had it, and I originally was kind of fascinated by that, it sounded cool. But actually, thematically, it doesn't really work. You're just kind of playing out heroes. It's a deck builder, but I don't know, it never really gripped me. I kind of played it and just went, yeah. Whereas this, Legendary Encounters, I really dug. It's more of a co-op thing. You are playing through each of the scenarios of the movies. So in the Aliens base set, you had Aliens, Alien 3 and Alien 4. And I'm sure the Covenant expansion added the other movies into that, but I never got around to playing that. And the other expansion added the possibility of a player board for someone to actually play as the aliens, to actually fuck with people, which I've never played with, actually, because it's just, I haven't had around to play at the table enough times. But Legendary Encounters was this deck building game of you playing through the scenarios. You work as a team, and there's different variants in it to play as a competitive and other stuff in there, but we'll just stick with the basic game. You pick one of the movie scenarios, and there's a set of objective cards and a deck, 3 or 4 different decks of cards that cycle out on this top row. I think they're called the Hive, where you attack. You don't know what they are. You have to use attack from your cards to flip these cards to see what they are. And some of them are aliens, some of them are a scenario bits tied into whatever you're playing. If you're playing aliens, then there's a thing where you're trying to rescue colonists. Then the second stage is where you've got sentry guns going down, and then you're fighting the Queen. And it's really thematic. It really follows the movies, with just enough twist of what could go on there. Lots of variety in the game. There's a hard mode that got input by the new expansion. The Alien expansion did actually add a hard mode to all the stuff. Not that it was easy in any means. You get this cycle of these cards coming out, and if they drop down, the alien beasts drop down to a next level, then they start attacking you, and you get strikes against you, which are generally bad news. And that's it, really. It's basically you're working cooperatively to build a deck of cards. Got different characters depending on, again, the scenarios you play. So if you're playing aliens, then you have Hudson Hicks, Ripley decks in there shuffled up. But there's nothing to stop you mixing all that up if you so wish. But I've always played it in the scenarios how it should be to the movies. It's really good, really thematic, really, really gorgeous, actually, all over, generally. I mean, the Legendary games have suffered to some degree with some art choices. There is a few duff notes in this set, but they're lesser than, say, something like Firefly, which was an abomination. There is a few garish-y moments in these games, but on the whole, the art and the actual design aesthetic and all that is really gorgeous. I really like it. It's one I've kept. I haven't played it nearly enough. I dug it out the other day and had to just play solo and really enjoyed what I was doing. So it's something that I need to revisit again, maybe with one of the games nights. Just to have a go, because it just hasn't seen the love that it needs. And it's an artifact that I kept because I love the Alien movies and I, like Predator. and it does all the good shit that I like. It just doesn't get the table time enough because of other stuff going on. But yeah, Literary Encounters, if you're a big Aliens fan, Aliens, Alien 3, all that sort of stuff fan, then you probably something you'd like to look at. I think it's solid. It's really good. I like what it's doing. I like the idea of the scenarios, how it's all story driven. It's fantastic stuff. Really good. Just a game I sadly haven't played enough of, but it's certainly something I wouldn't get rid of, and it's something that I will cherish and keep around. And every so often pine in it that I don't own the expansion of the two naff Ridley Scott movies. But hey, what are you going to do? So there you go. That was Legendary Encounters. Other news, other stuff, and other things going on. So fighting fantasy books. I just got into them with Isaac. We're trying to get Isaac away from TV because he just gets a bit busy in the evening. So we used to read stories. We've been trying to go back to reading stories, and he's protested highly. However, as luck would have it, I tried him out on The Blood of the Zombies, one of the fighting fantasy books by Ian Livingstone, which Choose Your Own Adventure. So he got into that. So we've currently tried Blood of the Zombies and died. We've tried House of Hell and died. Now I'm going to steer him more into the fantasy genre. We're going to do some, maybe Firetop Mountain possibly, or whatever. Now, to be fair, I'm not doing any dice rolling at the moment with these. We're just kind of reading the stories. He's making choices. But I will implement the fighting stuff soon. And I've got a lot of it to go through. There's all the original ones. There's a couple of the newer ones I've got, which I haven't actually read myself. And I always liked fighting fantasy as a kid. Great stuff. And hey, what great bedtime reading. House of Hell. We all died. We died last night while trying to prevent a human sacrifice, such as it is. But he's been enjoying that. I've been enjoying that. So that's my bedtime routine. What a great parent I am. I was just thinking about there's the Dice Man book that I might have to dig up because he'd probably enjoy that eventually as well. Other than that, I finished watching Banshee, which was bug nuts insane all the way through. I've got to be honest, they fridged like 2 female characters in 2 subsequent seasons that kind of left me going. The 3rd season, or 3rd or 4th, whatever the last season was bizarre, deranged, including devil worship and other things. It kind of, I think it was coming to its natural end, although once it finished I was left going, you know, they're characters that I enjoyed spending time with, even though they're all fucked up. Would have liked to have maybe seen some more of them, but hey, but yeah, I think it got out while the going was good. I think it was fun. It is stupid nonsense. It is absolutely deranged. Makes no sense. There is just the most deranged, crazy shit going on all the time in it. But I quite enjoyed it. And Anthony Starr, who obviously would then go on to play Homelander, was quite good as playing the Lucas Hood character, this cop, not cop character, man with no name essentially. It's very Western vibes. But yeah, that's fun. That was entertaining. And I've just commenced the watching of Twin Peaks. On a Monday night, Ollie, son number 1, comes over and we feed him and we watch TV. We've done House of the Dragon. And I've teased Twin Peaks a couple of times. Erin Dawes has rejected it because she just knows it's being a bit fucking weird and hasn't got time for it. But we watched the pilot episode last Monday and she was actually watching it all the way through and actually, you know, was engaged. So they've enjoyed that. So how they will go as we dig deeper into the mystery that is Twin Peaks, we shall see. If you've never watched Twin Peaks, it's David Lynch, TV show, Mark Foster was involved as well, about the murder of Laura Palmer, a kind of prom queen from this very small town. And now that spirals out into affecting the community, the people, and other shit going on in it. If only as David Lynch could do. It gets weird, people. It does get weird. But I've really enjoyed diving back into that. And that kind of is it for the minute. This is the Whistle Stop tour, as we are here. I will get back to more videos, but I'm just trying to wrap something up and get something out, so you don't feel starved of this. Me. How exciting. And that, on that bombshell, is it, really, for the minute. Yeah, I'm not going to go any further into anything else. I think that's enough of that. I will see you soon. Look after yourselves. Have fun gaming, doing other stuff. Hopefully the weather gets better. Typically by the time I get back to work, I imagine. But for the time being, this is me signing off. And I'll be back soon, I'm sure, with more of the same nonsense, I imagine. Bye-bye. And that's bye-bye from future Mike as well as past Mike, if he's not already said goodbye. If not, he's about to say goodbye. What a pleasure this has been. Right then, whenever this video comes out, enjoy, indulge. Don't forget to play games and stuff. And I will see you soon, I am sure. Or I've already seen you. I don't know. It's very confusing. this stuff, isn't it? Ta-ta!